In the village of Nkwali, life moved slowly along the banks of the River Oji. The river gave everything the people needed. Its waters held fish that were enough to feed families, and its banks were fertile for yams and cassava. Every evening, children listened to the elders' stories under the shade of the mango tree, and one story was told above all others. It was said that the river had eyes, that it remembered everything, and that those who took more than they needed would face its anger. Generations grew up with that warning, but children often laughed at it, thinking it was only a tale to scare them. Among the children of Nkwali, Shedrack was clever and daring. He was not the strongest or the fastest, but he had a sharp mind and a restless curiosity. He wanted more than what he had, and he wanted it all for himself. In the mornings, he would fish along the river and catch more than his share. He would sneak into the farms of his neighbors and take the biggest yams and the ripest cassava. When villagers praised skill or bravery, Shedrack longed to be at the center of attention. One night, the moon hung full and bright over the village, spilling silver light across the river and the fields. Shedrack, restless and bold, decided to go to the river alone. He wanted to see if the stories were true. He wanted to take as much fish as he could, believing nothing would happen to him. The river was quiet, smoother than glass. He cast his net and waited. The water around the canoe began to ripple, and the surface seemed to glow. Then, from the depths of the river, a figure emerged. It was taller than any man, its skin shining like water under moonlight, and its eyes glimmered like the reflection of the stars. It was the river god of Oji. Shedrack could not move. The river remained silent for a moment, as if waiting for him to understand. Then the river god made a single fish appear on the water. Shedrack was allowed to take only that one fish. If he tried to take more, he would never leave the river alive. Shedrack took the fish and felt a weight in his heart. Memories came to him, all the times he had been greedy, all the times he had ignored the needs of others, and all the creatures of the river he had frightened or taken without thought. For the first time, he understood how much his greed had caused harm. He returned to the village with the single fish. When he prepared it, the food seemed to multiply. His family and the neighbors ate, and no one went hungry. That night, the elders praised the quiet lesson that had come without words. From that day, Shedrack's name became known across the village, not for cleverness or daring, but for wisdom and humility. Time passed, and Shedrack learned more about the river. Each day he watched its currents and studied the life around it. He saw the birds that drank from its waters, the fish that hid among its reeds, and the children who played along the banks. He understood that life was balanced, that taking only what was needed and giving when possible was the path to harmony. Whenever Shedrack returned to the river, he carried small gifts, grains, fruits, and offerings, not to gain favor, but to honor the source of life. The river seemed to recognize him. Fish gathered where he cast his net, the soil along the banks grew rich, and the village thrived. Shedrack's story became part of the evening tales once told under the mango tree, and children who once laughed at the river's warnings listened carefully when his story was told. The elders reminded them that the river watched, that it remembered everything, and that those who respected it would be rewarded, while those who were greedy would face consequences they could not escape. Even now, when the moon rises high over Nkwali and the river glimmers silver in its light, villagers remember Shedrack. They tell children to take only what they need, to share with others, and to treat the land and water with care. The river still flows quietly, waiting, watching, reminding those who pass by of the lessons learned by a boy who once wanted everything, but found wisdom in humility. The story of Shedrack is a story of patience, respect, and balance. It teaches that every choice matters, that the earth and its rivers give freely to those who honor them, and that greed is a weight no one can carry forever. And so, when the children of Nkwali sit under the moonlight, they listen closely, remembering that the river watches, and those who give as much as they take will always find life to be generous.